All right, so we're going to look at string methods, and this is something you definitely need to know for the midterm, is understanding how to do substrings, understanding that strings have a zero index and how they work. So this assignment is looking at creating a monogram, essentially from entering a name. You can do this one of two ways. You can have them enter first, last, and middle name, and then create the monogram. Relatively straightforward, using a substring 0, 1, and then stacking the methods to get an uppercase or lowercase. I'm not going to show that one. I'm going to show the one that's a little bit more complicated, and that is entering the name entirely from one prompt. If you can follow that one, you can easily break down the other one. So let's go take a look at that. So first thing I need to do is create my scanner. So scanner scan equals new scanner system.in. Okay, and now I'm going to just prompt the user. So sysout, please enter your first, middle, last name. Okay, and I'm going to change that to a print. Okay, now I'm going to get the name as a string. Next line. Now I could try to do this all in one output, but I'm going to actually do this as a couple of steps. So the first thing I want to do is find my spaces. So I'm going to say int first space equals, and what I want to do is do an index of a space. So I'm going to say name dot index of, and give it that space, and so that'll return the value for my first space. Now my second space is not quite so easy, because I can't just say index of space again. I have to look at my options here. So index of, now you'll notice I have a couple of different index ofs. One is has this from index. If I click on that one, you'll say it returns the index with the string of the first occurrence of the specified value, starting the search at the specified index. Well, that's what I need to do. So I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to search for a space, and now where I want it to start is the spot right after the first space. So I'm going to say first space plus 1. So I start looking for that next space. Now again, I'm going to assume that they've entered their name correctly and there's only 2 spaces, and that's going to have their last name after the second space. So now that I have those 2 spaces, I can actually just print out my line straight up here. And actually, let me go back and change this to as print ln, otherwise I might have that on the same line. So when I go to print here, I'm going to do first letter of the first name, and that one's an easy one. So I'm going to say name dot substring, and I'm going to do beginning end, so beginning at 0, ending at 1, and I have to do 2 lowercase because the first name is lowercase. Okay, so I'm going to concatenate that, and I'm actually going to hit enter and move down because these are going to get a little bit long. So substring 0, 1 to lowercase. Now I need substring, so name dot substring, and now again here's where I'm putting the last name. So the last name comes after the second space, so I need to begin at the second space plus 1. Second space plus 1, and I'm going to end at second space plus 2. Okay, and now this one has to be uppercase, so I take that and do 2 uppercase. Okay, and I'm not quite done yet. I still have one more initial to put in, and that's the middle name, which will also be lowercase. So name dot substring, and I'm going to begin at the first space plus 1, and I'm going to end at first space plus 2. Okay, and let's try that out. Please enter your name, Steve Paul Jobs, and I get my monogram. Oh, I forgot to convert this last one to lowercase, so let's go back and add that to lowercase. Let me try again. Steve Paul Jobs, and now I get it right. So great, hope you followed along. Thanks.